Welcome to another episode of Galactic Ambassadors podcast. My name is Julia Balaz, and today I'm joined by Benjamin Schwartz, or Benji, who is joining us from New York. Welcome, Benjamin. How are you?
Much. I'm so good, Julia. So good to see you.
Today we are recording this on the 11th of August, 2025, a day short of the exact conjunction between Venus and Jupiter on beautiful star Sirius. And surprise, surprise, divine synchronicity, Benji's North Node is conjunct star Sirius as well. So couldn't have been better timed. How magical.
Yes, beautiful day.
With the Galactic Ambassadors podcast, we spotlight certified galactic astrology soul reading practitioners. And Benji, congratulations. You reached your certification on 7th of July, Omnius date. Well done. I believe you went through the course in a record time. And I'm so happy to know that even with the massive amount of information, including all the recorded materials of the live Q&A calls and everything that has been added to it over the years since it was published, that you managed to go through it all. As you mentioned, you enjoyed watching all the recordings in that amount of time. So now I can update the website on the course saying that this is how long it takes if you really go deep and block out everything else and just focus on going through the course material. How was the experience for you in that 70 days?
Transformational experience. So I registered on the new moon in Taurus, fixed earth, deeply healing new moon. So it was April 27th. And I wanted to complete it in 40 days by my birthday. 40 days and 40 nights has great spiritual meaning, esoteric meaning. And I wanted to complete it by June 6th, my birthday. And it really was transformational. So it was a lot of time. It was important to me to watch each of the Q&A sessions and each of the Galactic Ambassador sessions as well. I'm glad that in YouTube you can watch at 2x speed. So I was definitely watching everything at increased speeds.
That's incredible. Well done. Really, congratulations. And even though you went through the material in such a record time, as I was going through your clients' reports, the certification process requires to submit details about several client sessions. And I was so impressed. It was very obvious to me that you are a student of what I teach for long time. Can you tell us about your spiritual awakening journey, when it started, how it started, and how it eventually led you to galactic astrology and perhaps to astrology, because it's obvious to me that you are an experienced astrologer even before you joined the course. Can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you. When we look at my journey of spirituality, I think first of my natal Neptune at 25 degrees of Sagittarius, conjunct the galactic center. Neptune, the planet of spirituality, dreams, intuition. At that galactic center, I've just always felt that a deep connection to spirituality. Since I was a young child, I was always drawn to sacred music and sounds. I was born into a big Mormon family. So I was the third child out of 7 children in a big Mormon family. And spirituality was a big part of our upbringing as well. I learned to read with the scriptures and reading the Book of Mormon and the Bible. And I was born in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, high up in the mountains as well, as close to heaven. And at a young age, my family moved to Utah, just outside Salt Lake City. And I have lived in many different places. As a child, we moved to England for 6 years as a family for my dad's job. So I got to experience living in a different country, a different culture, which was great exposure from a young age. And when my last year of high school, my father was called as the Mormon mission president in Pennsylvania. So I actually graduated high school in Pennsylvania. I lived there for a year. I went to the Church University, BYU, Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And I served my 2-year full-time Mormon mission, Mandarin Chinese speaking, in Melbourne, Australia. So I actually lived in Melbourne, Australia for 2 years, working with the Chinese speaking population there and learning to speak Mandarin Chinese fluently. So when I came back to BYU after my mission, I was part of the BYU Young Ambassadors. So I love that our podcast is the Galactic Ambassador podcast. And back in college, I was a young ambassador, and it was like a Broadway style singing, dancing group. And we would travel to different countries and places performing. And we did a month-long tour in China. And while I was performing in China, I had a vision while I was there of me living in China and pursuing a career in entertainment. And so I followed that vision, and I decided to move to China in 2006 to pursue a dream in entertainment and being a Chinese pop star. I just showed up with 2 suitcases and a dream and see what the universe had in store. And I was on lots of different reality TV shows, and I eventually got to be the first American boy to play the lead role in a major Chinese television series. So was 98 episodes long. It was a 2,000-page script, all in Mandarin Chinese. So I had to really use my studious brain to go through my over like 700, 800 scenes, just hundreds of lines, memorizing all these lines. And it was while I was living in China that I really had time. I was so far from my home and my childhood and my upbringing, and I got to really start reflecting on what it was that I really believed and who I was. And it was really my sexuality that was a turning point for me to embrace new possibilities. You know, because I'd grown up in this very religious upbringing in a Mormon household, and I didn't believe it was possible to be gay and to still be loved by God and to be successful in life and to be loved by my family. And I actually read a book called Sacred Choices, and it was by a medical intuitive, I think Crystal Noni. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but it's called Sacred Choices. And it talks about our tribal beliefs and how when what's true to ourselves in our core is at opposition with what we were taught to believe, it causes this dissonance inside of our soul that can create dis-ease or just not what we want to create in life. And so it was a moment for me to rewrite my core beliefs. So in China, with Sacred Choices, I started reading a lot of other great books like Barbara Brennan's Hands of Light. And I had the privilege while I was living in China to live with an amazing boy from Taiwan who was getting his PhD in acupuncture, and he was a Reiki master, and he was a channel. He would channel entities. And this is back in 2011. And it was a very healing experience to experience life with him. And he trained me as a Reiki master. I was able to receive my attunements and learn the basics of acupuncture and experience what it's like to live with a channel, somebody who's able to tune into those frequencies. And that was obviously a seed level that helped blossom over time. So at the end of my 6 years in China, I had another vision of being in Latin America and teaching and practicing yoga. So I decided to come back to America, and I did my first yoga teacher training. And then I moved to Mexico City, and I lived in Mexico City for 2 years, where I did advanced yoga teacher training, learning Spanish. It was in Spanish, and I knew no Spanish. So I had to learn Spanish to take this yoga teacher training. And I got to just be part of the beautiful heart of Mexico and the beautiful Latin American people. And it was all besos and delicious food. And it was a totally new experience for me to be immersed in that kind of yoga, healing energy in Mexico City. And from there, I moved to New York City. So I've been in New York City now for 10 years. And I did my Master's of Science in Acupuncture while here in New York City. And it was while living here that I was introduced to the Kabbalah Center. So 7 years ago in 2018, my soul was called into the Kabbalah Center off the streets of New York City by the sound of the Torah being read in Hebrew. Oh. So I was literally walking down the street in New York City, and I heard the sound of the Torah being read in Hebrew, and it stopped me in my tracks. And I looked into the center and I walked in, and it changed my life forever. So Kabbalah is what led me to astrology, because Kabbalah views itself as the foundations of astrology through their lineage of Abraham. And yes, so I think that's kind of the journey that's led me to here. And now here I am sitting here in my private acupuncture practice, in my treatment room, in the spa at Mercedes Club in New York City, speaking with Julia Balaz. It's just a dream of mine to be here communicating. It reminds me of, I want to bring up my natal part of fortune, you know, where I find the greatest joy in life is at Gemini 13 degrees, 17 minutes, and the seventh house of relationships. And the Sabian symbol is two people at widely different points are in conversation with each other by means of telepathy. And I see Julia Balaz in Ireland and Benjamin H. Schwartz in New York City in widely different points communicating. And I view this as a telepathic holographic transmission as we communicate heart to heart, higher self to higher self.
Wow, it feels like you've lived so many lifetimes in one incarnation, and that's such a signature for Antarian. Antares, a prominent star, and yours is on your ascendant. Can you see the chart sharing that I'm doing now? There. So can we just go through your chart based on what you just shared here? I think it's so fascinating. First of all, I'm so grateful that you were called to studying and practicing quantum soul guidance modality, because you have such an ideal configuration in your own chart with all the super cosmic points firmly anchored through your natal planets and the royal stars and Sirius and Arcturus. I mean, I'm in love with this chart. It's brilliant. Yeah, so I believe the fact that you traveled so much in your life, that you had so many changes, has to do with Uranus in your first house and the Antares Aldebaran axis with ascendant conjunct Antares and your Mercury conjunct Aldebaran. I've mentioned this inside my course in the lesson on Antares that I've seen this so many times. I have a strong attraction point for Antares Aldebaran axis in people because I have it in my chart myself, and it's always the same story. People with these powerful points in their chart, they can act like activators for others to jumpstart them into higher states of consciousness just by being you, because your own passion for and devotion to God, to know God, that you demonstrate through your depth of study, that when something gets your attention, you go deep and wide, and that is a frequency that is present in your being, and that's then activating for others as well. It's the unspoken language between our biology and our spiritual body that has a positive impact on others. And it feels to me like souls with this type of configuration are desired to be in presence of as many people as possible. So they literally are guided by life itself to situations where they can be exposed to a huge amount of people. And I don't think it's just the Antares Aldebaran. These particular stories are when they're also the black holes, the supracosmic points, as I like to call them, the galactic center, supergalactic center, the great attractor, and Shapley attractor, which all are very prominent throughout your chart. So it's this massive, mighty, magnetic frequency of supracosmic points that is doing this magic behind the scenes, orchestrating life, and where your brain, your being, has the capacity to download this massive amount of information in one lifetime. I mean, learning Mandarin and Spanish and acupuncture, I mean, huge respect. I'm so grateful that you're here. How did you discover galactic astrology itself?
So for galactic astrology, how I discovered, I want to look at my moon here, which is conjunct the fixed star Ras Al Hay in the Ophiuchus constellation. And I want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Sybil Starr who first turned me on to the Greek mythology of Asclepius, the divine healer, and his connection to this Ophiuchus, Ras Al Hay, and the idea of dream healing temples and healing, dreamtime healing. And I've always had very powerful dreams and visions throughout my life. And on March 4th of this year, I had a very powerful dream that woke me up. And it was a light being dream where I was visited by a being who had a message for me. And I knew they had a message for me. And they came right up to me. And although they were speaking telepathically, I heard it as 3 words. And it was study fixed stars. And I woke up. And that changed my life because it was through that dream. I went to my phone, I did fixed star astrology, and I started on this quest to find everything I could about fixed stars and astrology. Because for 7 years in Kabbalah, I've been a very avid student of astrology. And I just realized through this dream that I'd only been looking at the wandering planets in our solar system and completely ignoring all the fixed stars in the sky. So through that dream, I was led to an interview of Pam Gregory and Julia Balaz introducing Galactic Astrology, Quantum Soul Guidance. And as soon as I saw you and felt your energy, and I heard you say the words Galactic Astrology, Quantum Soul Guidance, I got a full body confirmation that this is my path. And that's how I found Galactic Astrology.
Beautiful. What a blessing. Your vivid dreams, powerful dreams. We have Jupiter and Scorpio on Shapley to thank in 12th house. 12th house associated with dreams, deep subconscious, soul, past life connection. And so you have access to this mightiness of Shapley through Jupiter, through Scorpio. What a wealth of resources inside your being. Do you journal? Do you do dream journal?
Yes. Yeah. And I've been the thing on my phone where I take notes when I wake up about things that came up in my dreams. It's been very interesting to see patterns over time.
Well done. Beautiful. Has there been any other encounter with any of the galactic beings when you have such mighty chart? Anything else that you'd like to share?
10 days after that first dream, Study Fixed Stars was on March 4th. And then 8 days later, I woke up and I had a dream where another light being had come to visit me. And this time it was a different being who felt more like a mentor grandfather figure. And he told me, he was speaking telepathically to me. And the words that I got was that I have traveled through space and time to find you to heal death molecule at the root. And it was a very profound dream about healing at the root, and how he had developed a special technology to see through space and time to find death molecule at the root to heal it. And it was a very profound dream. And after I found galactic astrology and my galactic astro chart and saw this, my Pluto conjunct Arcturus and my North Node conjunct Sirius A, I just felt really strongly it was part of that Sirius Arcturian matrix of really deep, profound healing on a physical and emotional, spiritual level.
And that was the Arcturian, was it? Or
Arcturian Syrian matrix is what it felt like to me.
Amazing. And I wonder if you took note of the date when you had the encounter, and have you looked at the astrology at the transits? Was anything passing through the Arcturus? Because you have Arcturus conjunct Pluto in the 11th house, and you have lunar nodes on Sirius. Have you had a chance to explore that?
I have, yeah. I have actually looked up the charts. I can pull them up if we want to. I'd have to look at them again to see exactly what the transits were.
I would just be curious if there was something that was activating those particular points, because so far, every time I explore a story of an encounter with a galactic being, when a name is given to a specific star system, there is always a transiting planet anchoring or activating energetically that point. You know, we are living in the geometrically perfectly configured universe. So I believe, based on the experiences, countless and countless stories, it's like that. So it's very potent when something is crossing a star in your natal chart. If we live in a prayer of getting to know our soul better and remembering the skills and qualities and virtues that we cultivated during other incarnations, synchronicities and magic of this caliber is absolutely possible. How beautiful. All right. I would love to bring attention to your beautiful website. Well done for creating it also in record time. And it totally has your vibe, your frequency. You've done a really good job. So people can find you on Benjamin H. Schwartz, as we see in your tagline.com. Is that right?
Yes, correct. BenjaminHSchwartz.com.
What type of quantum soul guidance sessions can people expect when they connect with you? Do you offer a written report, live Zoom call? Tell us about that.
So the first session, which is kind of like an initiation session or a 2-minute session, is a comprehensive 90-minute live Zoom call. And in preparation for our live Zoom call, I do a comprehensive galactic astrology report where I work with your core 18 planets and points. You know, in Kabbalah, 18 has a numerical value of the Hebrew word for life. Chai, Chet Yud is 18. So dealing with your core 18 planets and points, which are the 10 regular planets and points in astrology of the luminaries, sun and moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then one asteroid, Chiron, the wounded healer. And then the 7 points are your ascendant and your midheaven, north and south node, black moon Lilith, part of fortune, and the vertex. And so with those 18 planets and points, we look at the specific placement by zodiacal sign, zodiac sign that they're in. The house placement shows the life areas that they're playing out in your life, and the galactic alignments, the fixed star alignments, and then also the Sabian symbol. So the Sabian symbols is something that I felt really called to in sharing with people as a living oracle transmission for your soul records from your personal 18 planets and points, the core 18, your Sabian symbols, and using that as an oracle transmission to feel into your soul's history. And then we look at your galactic origins based on your fixed star alignments, feeling into your soul colors, and also talking about spirit guides. And then at the end, I also like to look at transits as well to see any important transits coming up and how to best activate those in your life.
Absolutely beautiful. I brought up your certification clients' feedback, and if you allow me, I'll just share the shorter one that kind of sums up beautifully what it is like to experience receiving comprehensive galactic astrology soul reading report of this caliber. Is that okay? First client said, my session with Benji was above and beyond anything I expected. This is the astrology that makes sense for me, and the whole entire reading, I was in goosebumps, as it wasn't just an astrology reading, but a magical activation and initiation. Benji's knowledge, enthusiasm, and kindness showed up in every way. I highly recommend him and can't wait for my next session with him. And then the second feedback was much more comprehensive and really just paying deep respect to the wealth of wisdom that you carry and how beautifully you delivered it and the benefits of that experience and how important it is to revisit the session over and over, which having a Zoom recording and a written report, it's such a gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yes, for sure. And as part of the written report, I do personalized voice recordings as well for your Sabian symbols as a guided meditation to really feel into the energy quality of each of your personal planets and points through those Sabian symbols.
Beautiful.
And a beautiful connection I found to the Sabian symbols and understanding why they called to me so much is when the spiritual channel, Elsie Wheeler, who channeled the Sabian symbols, said that they were called the Sabian symbols because they came from the Sabian Brotherhood, which was a group of alchemists and astrologers in ancient Mesopotamia. And Kabbalah also views itself as roots of astrology because it follows the Abrahamic lineage. And Abraham came from that same place in ancient Mesopotamia around the same period in Haran. And so I really feel that kind of Kabbalah Abrahamic lineage connection to the Sabian Brotherhood, Sabian symbols. And there's 360 symbols to feel into the specific energy quality of that specific zodiacal degree. And it's a beautiful way to tap into your own intuition, to really spark that inner seeing. It's a group of phrases and words that help create a picture to feel into the energy quality of that degree. And when you look at them for all of your core 18 planets and points, it really weaves together a beautiful story of your soul records and your soul history.
That's so beautiful that I'm so grateful you were guided to this to enrich the modality. And this is, again, the magic of the growing community of certified practitioners. I love how each of you brings something very unique, very specific to it. An absolute honor. If anyone is new, I believe Sabian symbols are reachable, accessible for free through sabiansymbols.com. Is that the? Yeah.
Yes.
So people can explore that and learn a little bit more about themselves. Thank you for bringing that to the modality. That's fantastic. Is there anything else you feel is important to mention with regards to the sessions? And in particular, maybe what are you most excited about when you're tapping into client records?
So I feel very passionate about empowering people to unlock the encoding of their personal natal galactic astrology chart. And I really view astrology as a light language. You know, the root of astrology is the language of the star, logos, the word, study, and language of the stars. And it's a form of light language. And all of us on the earth at this moment in our journey of ascension, we're all learning to communicate through light language, this idea of telepathic, holographic transmissions of light language. And I am a total nerd for languages in general. I'm very passionate about Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, Hebrew, and I'm extremely passionate about empowering people to really learn how to read and understand for themselves this light language of their personal astrology and empowering them to really tune in to their soul records. It's not just coming from me. I'm not telling somebody their soul records. I'm empowering people to really feel into their soul records for themselves. And it reminds me of a practitioner versus facilitator, which is a conversation I've heard you talk about on past Galactic Ambassador podcasts. And I love this discussion of a practitioner versus a facilitator. And where I feel into this is that I am a certified practitioner of galactic astrology. And I've gone through this amazing course that you've prepared to really give us the tools to walk people through their galactic astrology. And I am a facilitator of quantum soul guidance. And I like to explain to my clients that the guidance is not coming from me, it's coming from you, from your higher self, your future self, your oversoul. And we are creating a vessel to receive that guidance. And as we learn this light language together, we are creating a sacred circle, a vessel to receive guidance from your higher self. The word Kabbalah in Hebrew, Kabbalah, means to receive. It's all about learning to build a bigger and stronger vessel to receive more light in our lives. And so when people come to me for a session, that's the energy that I'm bringing, is that I am a certified practitioner of galactic astrology to walk you step by step through really understanding this light language of your unique infinite soul. And together, we are creating a sacred space to empower you to tune into your own intuition, to receive those messages from your higher self.
And so it is. Beautifully said. Thank you for the honor of that. You had the privilege or a unique experience of experiencing the modality recorded from start to finish in our live transmissions, in our group comings together over the span of 3 years or so. We have grown so much as a community. I myself have grown exponentially as a result of the experience of quantum soul guidance modality growing and so much energy coming into it as everyone started connecting. I am curious to ask you, what is your feedback in terms of what you have witnessed in terms of the conversations frequency at the start, maybe first few recordings, comparing to where we're heading now, what we are discussing this year? And it still feels like we're only scratching the surface, and it becomes more grounded, more unified, more wholesome. Would you like to comment on that? Have you noticed the progression of our consciousness?
I would love to comment. I am so grateful for this community of the Galactic Astrology Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioner course and the certified practitioners led by you. This is such a beautiful community. The vibrations are very high, and there's so many words I want to share about it. First of all, I'm so honored to be here with you today on this Venus-Jupiter conjunction. Venus, the planet of love, beauty, relationships, Jupiter, the planet of blessings, growth, and abundance, and planting seed level intentions for what we want to share. I'm so grateful for this course that you have so lovingly and with so much detail laid out. It was so easy to follow. It was so invigorating to follow. It was so inspiring, soul transforming. And then this community of people that you've called to you, it is a calling of soul sisters and soul brothers. It is like a Starseed family. And I'm so grateful that in this process, before I completed my certification sessions, I really wanted to receive a session as well, to experience that for myself. And I wanted to receive it from more than one person so I could experience different styles. And I'm so grateful for Rona Prince and Taylor Norris Reiki, who gave me amazing sessions. Just tears in my eyes. It was just so, Rona Prince is such a clear channel, such beautiful energy coming through her. And Taylor Norris Reiki is such a sunshine from Hawaii and just deep healing Reiki journeys that she shares. And there's so many more people in the community that I can't wait to get to know. And I want to plant seed level today of opening up those connections as well. You know, there's Ulrika Sullivan and her YouTube videos, and Sybil Starr, and just so many people. And it keeps growing and growing. And I also want to plant the seed of the continued growth as well, and really calling out to all Star family who are receiving this, that the waters are warm, the ocean is wide. Come jump in and come join us. I have such a deep level, of course, for the Chinese speaking community and Spanish speaking, and I can't wait to continue to share this with that global community. So much more things to share about it. But yes, that's... I
think it sums it up beautifully. Thank you. What an honor to receive it. I received it fully. Can I ask you, what would you suggest as a guidance, as a perspective for students that enter the course and feel maybe resistance to practice for whatever reasons, because it is a frequency match and people have so much going on in their lives? I see that there is a number of students in the course that have a much slower pace, and it's okay because everyone has a lifetime access, and it's not like I'm monitoring it. I'm not asking because I want to push people forward, but I'm asking as someone who has this passion for diving deep and just going with it. What is your perspective that guides you, comparing to someone who maybe is self-sabotaging the progress? Like, is there any word of advice, you know what I'm asking, that you can offer?
As a starting point, I also want to say thank you to Margot for her tutorial video on using Canva for creating reports. That was very helpful for me. And just going for it. And you don't have to do a live session right away. Just preparing written reports. Start with Margot's video that explains how to use the basics of Canva and start putting together a report. And then you can even just practice going on Zoom yourself and just record yourself on Zoom like you're going to deliver to somebody as like a practice for it. And letting yourself have failures along the way. Nothing's a failure, but it's okay to feel like a failure. And it's okay to take baby steps. And feeling the joy of what it is to actually share this information with somebody is so affirming. And once you allow yourself to go there, even if it's just with a friend or a family member at first, somebody you feel comfortable with, sharing that with them and going step by step. And yeah, it doesn't matter how long you take to do it. And even if you're just doing it for yourself at first, that's okay as well. Just keep going.
Thank you. The essence, really, what I'm getting is the practice, and I can really see it. That has been your key. I was amazed to see in such a short amount of time, you managed to log in so many galactic reports into the system. You are now number 6 in terms of how many reports you have from the whole community. So you're clearly passionate about looking at galactic astrology configuration of as many people as you can. And that is what is deepening your understanding and then your courage to then channel the information, because you recognize the patterns, right? And that has been my experience. Sure. The more charts you can see, the more you're able to experience the pattern recognition.
And if you saw my Canva account right now as well, you'd see the number of reports I'm currently preparing. There's a lot of people who I'm excited to share their live session with, and I just want to prepare ahead of time. Because, you know, my private practice now, I've had here for 3 years, and I worked at an acupuncture clinic before this. And so in my profession as an acupuncturist in New York City, I've already done over 4,000 acupuncture treatments. And I have a long list of amazing people that I've worked with over these years. And through my practice, similar to you with QHHT, I've made a practice of talking to people about, do you know your birth time? And is it okay if I look up your astrology chart for you?
Awesome.
And so I have all of these charts of all these amazing people. And so I'm slowly letting them know that I'm now a certified astrologer, and I'd love to share their galactic astrology with them. So I have a long list of amazing people that I can't wait to share with them about the depths of their infinite souls. So that's all of those charts that you're seeing logging and all.
How exciting. Oh, wow. What a blessing. Yeah. So I just want to stay on this a little bit longer. For anyone who feels stuck in the course, what I'm noticing is that they feel at the wall of huge amount of information that's in their head. And the way through it is by starting to put charts in, because I also see that there are many students that have 0 charts. They have 0 practice in terms of looking at charts, or maybe they're just not saving them. But once you start looking at charts and then focusing on just little elements and look at, I don't know, 20 people and focus on one particular aspect of the modality, that's the way through the stuckness. Would you agree?
For sure. Yeah. And just really allowing yourself to enjoy the beauty of looking at a galactic astrology chart. It's a sacred geometry symbol. There's an activation just from making visual contact with somebody's chart. There's real beauty and power in that, and allowing yourself to really feel that and be inspired by that.
Absolutely. To me, through that experience, I pay my respect and love to God, Goddess, the creator, creatrix of all that is. I admire her creation through witnessing the magic inside the charts reflected in people's life stories. Yeah,
sure.
I'm in love.
In preparation for today, I actually made a document of all the Sabian symbols for conjunct Sirius A. And
thank you. Let's do it.
One of the Sabian symbols is a person studying a sacred mandala in front of them with the help of an ancient book. And I just feel that power of that astrological chart. And the ancient book of knowledge, one of them now is Julia Balaz's Practitioner certification course. And yes.
Thank you. That is so fitting. The Sabian symbols are truly magically accurate and fitting and activating. That's beautiful.
And it directly ties into the Sabian symbol for your Pluto conjunct Izar, which is also about passing on of sacred knowledge from generation to generation. Directly tied to your life mission as well.
Wonderful.
And see that.
Thank you. You know, what took the brakes off for me just before I published the Galactic Astrology 101 report, it was my last QHHT session. I had 7 altogether with different practitioners in exchange. They really wanted session from me as friends. I gave them a session and then they gave session to me, colleagues. And the last one, I remembered 2 lifetimes of doing something very similar, recognizing that I was passionate about exploring unknown territory, in whether it was charting maps, kind of like a Christopher Columbus story, but not him, but very similar style. And then an astrologer observing how movement of planets is affecting events in the collective, because the press was already out. And I was just fascinated by that, how it affects the collective, and just seeing that, the recognition of it. I remember I cried in the regression hypnosis and I was like, okay, I can do this. I've done it before, because I was blocked by not being officially certified as an astrologer by a recognized professional astrology body. So also remembering the past lives devotion to very similar journey gave me permission to go for it, and I never looked back. Yeah. And I feel this Sirian alignment, Venus Jupiter conjunction on Sirius, can feel very much like that for many starseeds at this time, where they will suddenly feel an absolute permission internally given to come out as guides of deep wisdom and skills that they acquired over many lifetimes. So may everyone be blessed in that experience, because it is then truly so liberating and so activating and so beautifully magical, powerful, expansive, and all that. So Benji, thank you also for coming out and into your fullness as you are becoming a beautiful guide, facilitator in other people's activation. What a blessing to have you join our community. Is there any lasting final message that you have for the community before we close? Anything else I didn't ask I could have asked?
Today on this Venus-Jupiter conjunct Sirius A, I also want to say the names in gratitude for the Divine Feminine Ascended Masters of the Sophia Dragon Tribe: Isis, Hathor, Green Tara, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, and White Buffalo Woman. And so grateful for the Divine Feminine inspirations and leaders and guides who are assisting us in this moment of ascension and elevation for us. I want to thank Julia as that expression of the Divine Feminine, and also in this course, all the amazing Divine Feminine expressions of the amazing women in this community. I really feel surrounded by soul sisters. I'm excited for more soul brothers to come join us as well, and I'm so grateful to be surrounded by so many soul sisters.
Beautifully said. Thank you. I do have a question. As you feel Divine Feminine rising and you explore the beautifully channeled text of the Sophia Code by Kaya Ra, and I'm sure other cosmology, how do you feel it impacting also your Divine Masculine rising within you and this divine union of the energetics in your being, and especially as you also study Kabbalah? Can you speak to that as well, the Divine Masculine?
The Divine Masculine, yes. It makes me think of Andromeda Galaxy as well, and that infinity symbol of our two galaxies coming together, and the integration of the Divine Feminine and Masculine. Also makes me think about Mary Magdalene and her role with that Christ consciousness, that her feminine expression of it, that it is a companionship of the Divine Feminine and Masculine. Yeah, and the ancient dragon energy of divine sovereignty that lives within all of us, and that womb of the Divine Feminine matrix from where we all come.
Yeah, thank you. I suppose the reason why I'm bringing it up is wanting to address that we are almost overcompensating in the collective now, talking about Divine Feminine rising because of how suppressed it was. So it's like, you know, when you have the elastic band, it needs to spring the other way first. But I believe, especially within my community, there is a deep awareness of not diminishing the Divine Masculine in any way. When we are talking about Divine Feminine, we come in union and harmony with both principles.
And as we talk about Divine Feminine, there's a list of books that have changed my life. And I'm realizing more and more that the books that really speak to me, many of them are channelings of light beings. And 3 in a row are from Barbara Brennan, Barbara Marciniak, and Barbara Hand-Clow. Barbara Brennan with her Hands of Light and the channeling of Heowyn, Barbara Marciniak with the Bringers of the Dawn and her channeling of the Palladians, and then Barbara Hand-Clow, the Alchemy of the 9 Dimensions, and her channeling of Palladians. And it also reminds me that my mother's name is Barbara, and it just, that connection to Divine Feminine inspirations and guides who have always been there guiding the way.
Thank you for bringing these gems in. Speaking of Barbara Marciniak, I just looked at her chart last week, and of course her natal sun is conjunct the Pleiades, and there are other beautiful galactic synchronicities. I wrote my first article. I was invited to contribute to Astrological Association of Professional Astrologers, I believe, APAI, and I included 3 charts, including hers, and another amazing channeler and an amazing teacher, all kind of just showing how beautifully galactic astrology can validate when you have a deep soul connection with a star system's being. You know, it's all there.
Amazing. I can't wait to hear that. And also I wanted to talk about Divine Masculine as well. Jose Arguelles. Today on the Sirius conjunction, I wanted to say his name as well, with his work with the Cosmic History Chronicles and his channeling of Valum Votan and the galactic Mayan mind transmission from these ascended masters in Sirius, getting more in touch with divine timing, the dream spell calendar of the ancient Mayans, and also Tom Kenyon with his channeling work with the Arcturians and the Hawthorne material and the Mary Magdalene manuscript as well.
Thank you. May the right people be guided to this video transmission and excited about getting these books and be taken on an amazing expansion of consciousness journey. I will put the links to these books in the video description to make it easy, or put it in the comment as well so it can be researched.
Well, another message, we talked about people who have already signed up for the course, and I'd also like to send a message for anyone who hasn't signed up yet for the practitioner certification course. And that is, if you feel any internal calling or anything bringing you to this course, register, sign up, jump in. It will be one of the best choices you've ever made. Even if you never plan to be an astrologer, you don't plan to do this professionally, even if it's just for your own nourishment of your soul, your own interest in learning, it is one of the most generous offers I've ever seen. It's so packed full of knowledge, and it's so intimate, and you share so much about your own personal journey and your own personal astrology, and it brings this amazing community together. It's not even just astrology, it also has great business advice about how to improve your businesses, and the soul records, tuning into your own intuition, as well as the real practical galactic astrology. It's such a fulfilling experience, and I could not recommend it highly enough.
Thank you. Thank you, Benji. And may your clients, who will be beautifully, universally, divinely orchestrated, attracted to you, who will come to you for reading, may they have the most extraordinary activation, full soul remembrance experience, and start of more fulfilled, blessed life. Thank you for being here, being you. What an honor to connect. And I feel excited for what's ahead for you and for us, co-creating, collaborating, seeing what's next, inviting everyone else into the circle, working with us. Benji, this is such a joy, such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Julia.
Thank you all for watching, for being here, sharing this beautiful celebration with us. Well done again, and I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Take care.